Much better.
Great. So there will be two parts to this talk. First part I will deliver, and then Manuel will do the actual deep dive. He's like a surgeon at Altoros. He always likes to poke things, poke holes, and so and I will then help him out if I have any comments and make sure that we addressed all three items that we had from the audience requested specific areas to be covered. So first of all, why we're involved in this is because we believe, just as Dave said, that Cloud Foundry has a potential to become the Windows of the cloud. We believe that describing it in a different words, we think that Cloud Foundry could make the same impact that conveyor belt made to the automobile manufacturing, which before the Ford got started already had the conveyor, but it was not a moving one. It was not a belt. So we think that Cloud Foundry can really be that one, and ultimately deliver the cost savings and make the high-end software factories available to rich and poor everybody. So at Altoros, we're services company, 100% professional services revenue. We're not selling a product. We're not reselling a product to anyone, so we don't have much of a conflicts of interest with specific vendors. Yeah, we might be a partner of a few vendors here and there, but literally we don't receive any kickbacks. So we just got too late into this business to have those kickbacks, so we don't have the dependency on those, and therefore we really don't care what kind of product someone wants to push. We always were paid by the customer, and if it's not right for the customer, we'll not do anything to get a certain vendor out. So we do Cloud Foundry training, deployment, and integration. So if you are a vendor, we might be helpful to you that whatever strategy you have with Cloud Foundry, we can help expand the footprint of your technology within the customer if it really delivers value. If you are an end customer, we can help you as a champion of this new technology to explain and sell the idea why this is cool, why they should change to the rest of your team members, the rest of your organization. We do know that many of our customers, especially when we come in and we have a champion within an organization who is passionate about Cloud Foundry, who attended some of the meetups, just like you guys. You come out of curiosity, right? What kind of opportunity it creates, right? This is a big driver. Not everybody is like you, and majority of the people are really the followers. They follow you in their organization. Not necessarily you are the folks who might be the big bosses telling what to do, but I do know that many of you are being asked by your colleagues, what's going on in the world? What are the trends, right? And your opinions really matter. So we help those champions within organizations get and move ahead with taking the message and making this change happen. So for overall, before we get into the details, the change of going from left to right is affecting a lot of different companies, vendors, IT organizations, individual developers. Like everybody is going to be different. Is going to do a different work, all because of the shift happens, right? And this shift may look like just different colors, but in reality, the key thing is that some of the people will lose jobs because they don't want to change. Some of the people feel threatened because they say, what do you mean? What do you mean it does high availability? Like, what do I design? You say I don't need to design the architecture anymore for every app? What do I do, right? You say that I don't have to create VMs, and you are not talking to me, you're not submitting a ticket to get an infrastructure, what's my role then, right? I'm creating infrastructure for you. So this is just one example of the folks that have that mentality, and some of the, like, far right examples of older organizations that really didn't have the opportunity to get up to speed what's going on. Go ahead.
You have solutions for these people, or are they just fucked?
Most of them are.
Oh. Oh.
We cannot fix the people that really don't want to be fixed.
Change or die.
Exactly, and I will be writing a blog post on the subject that is a little bit similar, but of a much greater kind of picture. Like I was reading a book the other day about the possible options that the humanity, that civilization we have, that we as a civilization have when it comes to sustaining the impact of robots of all kinds coming and want to take our jobs, right? And I think that those folks who don't want to change at all, that only believe that, oh, I get a degree at college, or I go to this professional education once, and then I become a system administrator, and that's what I'm gonna do my whole life, without learning anything new and changing the way I do my job or changing the role I play in the organization. If they're not gonna change to learn something new, I think they can survive in some companies, but in most companies they certainly don't have the chance of survival. The chance is very low.
Okay, but just to be clear, your company is not going to kill us with robots.
No.
Okay, thank you.
We
Laser
ourselves
tag.
trying to figure out how do we change to make relevant and to live with robots and be smarter than them, which is very hard.
We're working with some customers that do some kind of those things, but not killing yet.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you know, there's so many examples throughout history of where
Yeah.
we've seen this, and you know, a simple example is like an elevator man.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Well, no, like you know, there used to be a person who
The
actually
title. Okay.
stood in the elevator
Yeah.
and helped you get to your floor, and then that got automated, right? So what does that person do, right? There's tons.
The cloud.
There's tons of these examples, and so you have to. Sometimes your job just goes away, and you need to find another job. Other times, you just have to go higher up the stack to remain valuable.
Or lower. Yeah.
And you know, and so that's I think what most of us need to do is, you know, go up the stack a bit.
Yeah.
Thank
And that's a whole that's a topic for a whole another book. So most of you know a little bit what Cloud Foundry is, but go ahead.
I had a question about the previous slide.
Yep.
So in the Foundry platform as a service, so as a user, do I get to choose any of the lower, like runtime I can understand, but which OS or virtualization, like do I have any choice in that, or?
Yeah, sometimes you do, but in many cases you don't. As an operator, if you design it for your own organization, let's say if it's a private platform as a service, you have complete control what do you choose, what do you put inside, because you're building that service for your organization. So you're the AWS for them, right? Or
Yeah,
whatever,
but
or
even
Heroku.
compatibility issues, because not all the components and all the possible virtualization engines are compatible with the stack.
Yeah, for example, right now in the world of Cloud Foundry, which sits on the opposite side of the open source pond from Red Hat. Red Hat is not supported by the community, influenced by Pivotal and VMware, right? It's not the option that is like supported, and if you want to make it work, sure, go ahead, submit. It's an open source, right? But by default, it's Ubuntu, it's CentOS, right? So if you want to choose, if you want to have that specific portion, that's cool. Go ahead, make it work. Go through the struggle. But most people don't really do it. And here's the magic happens. It doesn't matter what's underneath, to the point where it doesn't matter what kind of storage. It further abstracts what we see with OpenStack. It just amplifies, just as Dave said. if it's DOS, then this is Windows. It makes it so irrelevant what's there. Because for me, if I push an app or if I'm an operator, I don't care. It works. It just works, right? And that's what makes a lot of people move and start to figure out, well, how do we become relevant in this new world? And a lot of different companies have to reinvent themselves, which is a good thing for everybody, because everybody is in a difficult spot. Only a few companies enjoy like total market domination, leadership, like AWS, but the rest of the people who weren't that smart, who weren't betting $1 billion, where everyone thought, oh, who cares about these developers, right? Now we have to catch up and change, right?
Anyway, I will talk about later
Yeah.
those 3 layers: runtime, middleware, and OS, where you can choose between some flavors.
Yeah, choice.
Okay. Guys, I need to.
Did it?
I need to reopen it.
Okay.
Okay. I'm good. So. So now, guys, I will go very fast through my slides. Manuel has a deep dive in 5. So as a developer, I just care about the code that it runs, that it has the continuous development, integration, and what kind of operating system in there, what's underneath. It's not one of these items, right? Wow. And for as an IT manager, I care about other things, as making it available as a service, and all of the stuff that we were promised by the cloud is actually becomes a reality, including the hybrid cloud, which is very hard to achieve without the PaaS, but becomes a affordable fate for the PaaS-based business. And as a business owner, I have like things that seemingly don't have anything to do with PaaS, but when we look at closer at them, it makes it a really enabler of many of these items. In some cases, it's just exactly what that business need is. The PaaS is the feature. One of the features of PaaS is exactly that, like scaling my infrastructure with the demand without having a lot of overhead associated with setting up the scale and managing the scale and things like that. So if we compare the platform as a service versus infrastructure as a service, when it takes hours and days to set up a complex app, real production, high available, like latest and greatest best practices, with platform as a service, it's very easy because it's just an API call away. And the best thing of all is so developer friendly that you literally have an API to talk to your app. And in a world that is increasingly ran by developers, influenced by developers, if you would give a choice, developers would live in a world where they can order beer through an API call. They would do everything through an API, right? So this is just makes it a little bit closer.
Yes, not only that, developers nowadays they are not just developing one thing as a request for a document and that's it, and I don't care about the architecture, how that their application performs, and what is around that application. Nowadays, really agile and really power development teams, they know what a load balancer is, they know which kind of database and why they are using it. Otherwise, they are not agile, they are stuck, and also they will provide bad solutions. So with that in mind, they can actually, under a controlled environment, like you want to do this and that mistake, feel free to do all of this stuff.
Right, and you get it very fast. So there is no overhead associated with addressing the needs of the developers. So it's like a dispensary, like an app store for developers. You want an app, you get it. And what kind of changes that are business wise that the companies can achieve? Like at Intel, this is from a 2000 and I think 12 or 13, their assessment of their internal process. What does it take to build an app in Intel? So let's see, if you're a developer in Intel, you build an app, and then before it goes live, it goes through all of these steps. It takes 130 days at max, typically about 1 month. But they ask, like, can we really do it like in 1 day? Someone told us we thought that he's crazy, but then other people say that yeah, he might predict the future. So how can we do it in just 1 day? And can we make it happen? And in fact, well, they're not there yet, but they're getting there. So Intel is one of the companies adopting Cloud Foundry for their internal use to accelerate the way they build apps and kind of bringing that conveyor belt into their organization. They're not done yet. I'm not sure if they will ever be done, but they ultimately can make it happen and make it closer to 1 day. At least 80% reduction at 20% of effort is something that we all think is doable, right? So what does it take to deliver in 1 day? Essentially, takes to have an API for developers and let them do all the stuff they want to do in an automated way, in a documented way. It makes it the DevOps or IT system administrators becoming DevOps and building the processes and building the templates and repeatability into what they do, not just one-off, but something that developers can use continuously. And then the gaps in the IT manager's work when they want to deliver the services, defining what the services are, which services will get the most impact to the organization. Cloud Foundry becomes that's kind of a delivery mechanism for them to push those services into production and make it available to various people. Well, first of all, developers. These are some of the photos from the last Platform CF conference in September. If you're interested in Cloud Foundry, I encourage you to attend the Cloud Foundry Summit, which will be on June 9th through June 11th in San Francisco this year. cfsummit.com or cloudfoundrysummit.com. Visit this website, register. I think it's like $200 or something, very inexpensive for a 2-day high-end conference. So it's very end user friendly. Alturas will be sponsoring this summit. We will have a few tickets. I'm not sure if we will have available for the community to give away, but if you really want to get to that and want to learn about what will be happening around the conference, we're going to be preparing the training and the workshops, probably meet up with Dave as well around this conference. So watch for these dates in the end of the first week of June. Events will start happening. There will be approximately from June 5th through June 15th. There will be some stuff going on in the Bay Area. And as far as the business, to finalize my business part, there are 5 business cases, the main cases which drive the adoption. In many cases, it has to be approved by managers. It has to be business justified, right? And these are the 5 that I counted that really either make money or save money to an organization. And I can go into detail. I have one of these use cases, like improved infrastructuralization, an example of a company that goes into. Would you like to see that? Yeah. All right, cool. Let me go quickly around that. So, infrastructure utilization. A lot of big companies, including VMware, were built around, all right, let's increase utilization, here's the solution, virtualization, let's make it happen. And in reality, it's very hard problem to solve, and even VMware didn't solve that. You would think that they're very successful because they sold it. They sold it just a little bit, and in fact, platform as a service can do 5 times more impact on utilization than that VMware did, maybe 20 times more impact. If we look at the scale at which the workloads are growing and the size of data that we have in this world, it might be easily 10, 20 times more impact compared to what we have today. If you're an AWS user, you'll most likely have a bunch of small, medium-sized instances. We're AWS user, we have those. And believe it or not, that if you take, so there is a little fine print over there, but it's on SlideShare. A small company, consulting company, did a survey of AWS users, asked 450 companies who agreed to give them access to all of the metadata about the instances. And when they measured, they looked at most, 88% of these, all of these instances were small, medium, and large. And interestingly enough, they only have 9% average utilization. So what does it mean? It means that great chance that you're leaving money on the table. And if you are a manager of IT in a medium-sized organization and you have 2,000 instances, it means that Amazon is eating like $130,000 a month. And 90% chance that your boss one day will tell you that, hey, my consultant or my son or whomever told me that we are losing like a lot of money and about $1 million a year. You're making less than that, so and you caused that loss. So I think you have to find it. And if you don't find it, we will do something about it. So you will be fired. There is a risk that if you really reject, and this is an example of how if you reject this change, this is one of the situations you may end up at. If I would be a system administrator, I would certainly think about that. If I would have 2,000 instances under management. So if we care about having $1 million, this is a 3-step possible solution. It may not work for everyone. It's not really a perfect option. It's only some cases can work, but it's to demonstrate how powerful it is. And it's a real world scenario because if most of your 2,000 instances are utilized on various apps, let's say an interactive agency, easily, a large company like those that starts with like WW something, those large interactive agencies in New York City, they easily can have 2,000 instances on Amazon, right? They have a bunch of customers, real case. And most of their apps are campaigns of all sorts, right? They're running campaigns for people. So step 1 is to check if Cloud Foundry is right. If it's right, then deploy Cloud Foundry on EC2, on these are the CXLs, the large instances that have 256 gig of RAM, and just make the utilization 80%. And because Cloud Foundry, you can take your app and increase the amount of RAM it's using by like increments of 128 megabytes or whatever. You can make your 1 megabyte increment if you want to, but you can really so fine-grain the way that applications scale within an instance. If you need another, then you get another instance. It's really becomes this problem is solved by a feature of Cloud Foundry, really. That's utilization. With API, you can do everything you want, right? If you have an API, you can spawn new instance. You can remove an instance. You can have 20. You can have 21, 19. You can do everything you want. It's just an API call away. If you plug in your custom monitoring and create a rule, if I'm running out of CPU, create instance number 22 with the size of 128 megabyte of RAM, all right? And then in the future there will be multi-cloud Cloud Foundry deployments where you can say, hey, I am having a traffic spike in Japan, so create 2 more instances in Japan, and it will be just an instance as well. So if we look at what kind of impact it is, instead of 2,000 small, medium, large, we have 22 extra large, like big instances, and we are only paying $55,000 a month. Essentially, we earn not exactly a million, but 0.9, almost $1 million a year. Just by taking the utilization from 9%, which is an average, to 80%. So that's all about my part, and Manuel will get into the
When I prepare my computer, you can
yeah.
continue.
And what I can comment is the items that you have requested. Before we started, the first item was auto scaling of ops. We a little bit addressed that.
I will go into more details.
Yeah, Cloud Foundry does not have a pre-built feature for auto scaling, but because you can spawn off instances of the applications, on and off, add more, remove them, change their size. It's just a matter of like very easy line of code that monitors something and acts on it, right? Because it's not a part of the Cloud Foundry core to do the orchestration of the apps. There are a bunch of other things that are much more critical for Cloud Foundry. So that's an opportunity for app developers, for orchestration vendors to add capabilities that would allow orchestrating the apps at the app level. And this is one big area in Cloud Foundry that's wide open. Go ahead.
Yeah, for Cloud Foundry, the commercial version, does it has that capability?
Commercial version of Cloud Foundry?
Yeah.
Pivotal CF?
Capability for
Or auto scale?
No.
auto scaling at the application level?
Mm-hmm.
No, it doesn't.
No.
Now the thing is that is kind of a dangerous area, really, because if I auto scale your application, probably I will be charging you more money, or you will be charged more money for the infrastructure that you use. So I am scaling your application because probably you have a bad query, it's taking longer,
Yeah.
and I just in case put more load and the query are going to be slower and slower. So that is kind of tricky, and yet I think that they don't want to get into that issue yet, but you have a plugger.
Yeah.
You can plug in your intelligence there for auto scaling.
I see.
We have done that, and I think that I have some videos somewhere.
Yeah, 6 months ago or like 8 months ago, back in October, we have delivered a demo of auto scaling of an application on top of Cloud Foundry deployed on AWS, where we loaded the app with traffic, and then we demonstrated, all right, so we had a rule. Everything beyond 70% CPU utilization,
Yeah.
you have to create another instance.
So
And then we watched, like we started the traffic generator, then we watched CPU 25, 45, 75, 95, 99, and then instance 2 starting, and you see that load got to 25% across 2 instances, it now can sustain it. So these demos, Manuel literally built this demo in one day for a crowd of people.
Right. Yeah, that is not a typical feature to implement.
Exactly.
So yeah, you give a very good reason why.
Yeah,
why
well,
it's not for
So
one.
the answer is
yeah.
the feature is there if we call an API ability to add or remove instances through API. This is the essence of what enables that feature. How you implement it, that's your version. You can create an app for that, or you can monitor it through New Relic, whatever you want.
Yeah.
That's it. You can also probably want to, New Relic has an API. You can read that API. Okay, you will have a lag. On the real time also, you will have a lag. But you can probably design a logic based on that lag and
Mhm.
do what would be the best in that situation. And that is the auto scaling up and down.
All right, Manu, go ahead.